Good morning. Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic readings, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living Communities of Greater Baltimore and Columbia. Today is July 11th. And this morning I'm reading from this brand new book that I just got, The Spiritual Law of Cause and Effect, The Inner Mechanics of Mind, Law, and Divine Intelligence. And that is by Reverend Willow Frost. And I'm just going to read from the very beginning. Check this out. In the beginning, long before birth of cities, scriptures, or systems of belief, early human beings stood beneath the night sky and wondered. They saw the heavens ablaze with stars and heard thunder rolling through mountains. They watched fire leap from lightning, rivers rise and fall with invisible forces, and the seasons turn in cyclical patterns that held their very survival in suspense. With no scientific language to explain the world around them, they developed something more primal and potent: myth. And she goes on to talk about the power of myth and how that has evolved us. And what that sparked in me is our connection, our innate divine imagination as a mechanism of the infinite that we are, informing us of what's going on from a holistic perspective. Language is such a barrier because of the limitations of how we have assigned meaning and definition and agreements to every word we use. And then those words are further complicated by the experiences that are created to match our myth. And one of the things that I'm personally aware of in my own journey, my own spiritual journey, is that sometimes it's challenging to let go of how it's always been, how my brain tells me it's always been. And in reality, it hasn't always been anything other than exactly what it is: a system of creation holding itself together, evolving in relationship one to another. Right? And when I say one to another, I'm not talking about one person to another. I'm talking about every element, every expression of creation, and how everything relates as a whole body. There's a phrase that I anchor in a lot: the harmonious operation of one. And the way that I personally most clearly understand it is to understand my physical body and the operations of every cell, this magical thing that happens where we start out as a single cell, and then at some point there is this, what seems very magical but is more mystical than magical, moment where this ball of identical cells suddenly knows how to differentiate and become different organs, different limbs, how it knows how to work together in these beautiful systems that maintain and advance the harmonious operation of this whole body. And when I extrapolate that to the macrocosm of all of creation, I get it. Then I understand that the individualized me, the individualized expression of creation that I know as me, is a cell, is a differentiated cell in the body of the whole creation. And that what's most important is my relationship with every other cell in the whole body. And for me, that really speaks to how I embody and embrace wholeness, how I embrace the unity of one, the inseparability of one, that every cell is necessary and intentional for the whole body to operate, and that it's the relationships that hold the harmony of the whole. And so I offer you that this morning to consider. This morning's Just for Today is being pre-recorded because I have appointments this morning. And so I'm not able to be here live at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So that's what is alive in me. If you're willing and choose to share your thoughts, I would love to see them in the chat on whatever platform you're watching this on. And I'm going to move us into our time of meditation. I'm going to read that selection as I take us into our 5-minute meditation practice. And I will bring us out of that with a spiritual mind treatment for the day. In the beginning, long before the birth of cities, scriptures, or systems of belief, early human beings stood beneath the night sky and wondered. They saw the heavens ablaze with stars and heard thunder rolling through mountains. They watched fire leap from lightning, rivers rise and fall with invisible forces, and the seasons turn in cyclical patterns that held their very survival in suspense. With no scientific language to explain the world around them, they developed something far more primal and potent: myth. And so in this moment, I recognize one power, one presence, one life that is the very life of all. This one energy, this one substance that simply is expressing itself as life, as form, as the seen and the unseen, as that invisible energy that rises and falls as the river. The invisible energy that shows up as a flash of lightning. The infinite something that expresses itself in multiplicity of expressions and yet is never separate from itself. This one energy that sustains itself by giving without restriction to itself. That differentiates in expression and yet relates with every differentiation of itself in the harmonious operation of one. And as I recognize what this one is, I am aware of the many, many names that we use to reference this one. And I am aware that not one name can ever fully encompass all that it is, the infinite, ever expanding isness that it is. And I recognize in the inseparability of one that I must be a differentiated cell in this body of the whole. And that what is true of me is true of every expression of creation, of life. And that I am inextricably in relationship with every expression. That in the truth of one isness, there is only now. And so it is in the now that I find the truth of my being. And as I find the truth of my being, I find the truth of all beings. Because it is one truth, one beingness, one isness. And so I claim and affirm that I am intentional, that I am aware, that I am interacting in that divine relationship of the holy self, the infinite self, the spiritual self, with the self in every iteration of itself. That I am fully aware of and participating in the harmonious operation of one within this physical being that I call me, and within the body of the whole that I call life. I claim and affirm that today I participate in holy relationship as the harmonious operation of one. That I allow this idea of myth to inform me, for me to be curious and allow that infinite imagination within me to inform me at a level beyond the intellect of the intricacies and mystical relationships of every individualized expression with the whole. I allow myself to fully experience that myth of Indra's net, where all are connected, reflecting the beauty and magnificence of one another. I am grateful. I'm grateful for the activity of law, that ordered operation of creation. Infinite intelligence expressing itself, holding the wholeness of life together in perfect order. So I celebrate that the systems that we seek are already in place. The law of creation, the activity of creation, the doer of creation has already made it so. And so the doer, as the human me, needs to do nothing to magnify the whole, to make the whole work, but rather to allow my doing to be guided by my being in relationship with the whole. And so I let go. I let go of any shred of separateness within me, any idea of hierarchy within me. And I say yes to being in relationship with. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amin. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.